Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister clearly has selective amnesia. I asked him 3 questions about the winter fuel payment 2 weeks ago, and he was floundering. The fact is, he hasn't answered the question I asked him. He hasn't answered the question I asked him. He can't tell us who will get the payments. All we see is U-turn after U-turn. His head must be spinning. Will he apologise now for taking the payments away in the first place, including to his own backbenchers? And can he tell us how...
Oh, buckle up, love, because what you're about to hear is the parliamentary equivalent of a freshly brewed cup of Yorkshire tea. Strong, a little scolding, and very, very British. It's PMQs, but not as you know it. You've heard of Shakespearean drama. You've heard of Love Island chaos. But nothing quite prepares you for the exquisite political theatre that unfolded when Kemi Badenoch took centre stage and delivered a parliamentary performance so sharp it could slice through a wheel of red Leicester. I mean, if sarcasm was an Olympic sport, she'd be going home with gold, silver, and a knighthood. Before we show you the video footage, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Mr. Speaker, 3 weeks ago, the winter fuel policy was set in stone. 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister U-turned. Today, the Chancellor is rushing her plans because she just realised when winter is. So, on behalf of the pensioners who want to know, can the Prime Minister be clear with us here and now? How many of the 10 million people who lost their winter fuel payments will get it back?
Prime Minister.
Well, I'm glad to see she's catching up with what happened 2 weeks ago. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at the budget, we took the right decision to stabilise the economy because of the £22 billion black hole that they left. And the signs, we took the right decisions. The growth figures are up, the interest rates have been cut, and we got 3 trade deals. So we will look again, as I said 2 weeks ago, at the eligibility for winter fuel, and of course we'll set out how we pay for it. But because we've stabilised the economy, Mr. Speaker, we on this side are committed to the triple lock, and that increased pensions by over £400 this April. On their side, they say the triple lock is unsustainable, and I think her position is she wants to means test it.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister clearly has selective amnesia. I asked him 3 questions about the winter fuel payment 2 weeks ago, and he was floundering. The fact is, he hasn't answered the question I asked him. He hasn't answered the question I asked him. He can't tell us who will get the payments. All we see is U-turn after U-turn. His head must be spinning. Will he apologise now for taking the payments away in the first place, including to his own backbenchers? And can he tell us how he's going to pay for this?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we took the right decisions at the budget because we needed to stabilise the economy. She needs to apologise for the fact that they left the economy in a terrible state. With our mini-budget which blew up the economy, and we were left with a £22 billion black hole. When she gets up, perhaps she should apologise for that.
Mr. Speaker, the OBR has said there was no such black hole. He's just given away £30 billion for the Chagos Island. That's his black hole. He hasn't stabilised the economy. Borrowing prices are higher now than any time in the last Parliament. He has not stabilised the economy. He has no clear answers on what he's doing. It's just chaos, chaos, chaos. He keeps making announcements with no detail. So let's move to another area of confusion. Can we get a simple answer? Will the government keep the 2-child benefit cap?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm absolutely determined that we will drive down child poverty. That's one of the proudest things of the last Labour government. That's why we've got a task force. That's why we've got a strategy, and we'll set out that strategy in due course. But we drive child poverty down. Under them, poverty always goes up.
Kemi Badenoch.
I didn't ask him about a task force. I asked him if he will keep the 2-child benefit cap. And he doesn't know. It's just chaos and uncertainty. He has no details. He is briefing something and causing a lot of confusion to the people out there. But on that two-child benefit cap, Mr. Speaker, I'll tell him this. I believe in family, but I also believe in fairness. Yes. On this side of the House, we believe that people on benefits should have to make the same choices on having children as everyone else. Yes. What does the Prime Minister believe?
Mr. Speaker, I believe profoundly in driving down poverty and child poverty. That's why we'll put a strategy in place. But she talks about head spinning. There's only one leader, Mr. Speaker, who's been praised this week by the Russian embassy. And if she carries on echoing Kremlin talking points like this, Reform are going to be sending her an application form for membership.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Prime Minister what he believes in. He had to look in his folder to find the answer. His MPs behind him know what they believe in. He doesn't know. Mr. Speaker, he has been in government for nearly a year. It's only going to get harder. Yes. He's been in government only a year. It's only going to get harder and harder. The canned forced laughter, the planted questions, all of this is going to disappear because at every single point, things are getting worse. He has to ask Morgan McSweeney what it is that he believes in. But the fact is the chaos is being felt in the economy. The Chancellor said she would not be coming back with new tax rises, but she will have to pay for all of these U-turns which she's announcing out there, isn't she?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to look in my folder because here I've got the quote that she had on Sky News. I will read it, thank you. It's what the Leader of the Opposition says. It's worth listening to. What she said was this. Sky News, Mr. Speaker, Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United Kingdom, just like Ukraine is on behalf of Western Europe against Russia. Well, that was certainly noticed in the Russian embassy because they put out a statement saying the Leader of the Opposition has finally called a spade a spade. Ukraine is indeed fighting a proxy war against Russia on behalf of Western interests. And they went on to say the illegitimate Kyiv regime, created, financed and armed by the West, has been at it since 2014. So they endorse, they want the detail. I've given the quote. That's what Russia said in response. She asked me what I believe in. I believe in standing by Ukraine and calling out Russia as the aggressor.
Mr. Speaker, it was our government that stood behind Ukraine and led the way in Europe. Everything he has said this afternoon is total nonsense. Obfuscation, avoiding the question. He doesn't have any answers. It's disgraceful. I asked him, Mr. Speaker, about the two-child benefit cap. He's talking about the Kremlin. He's saying everything he can to distract from the mess he is making of our economy. The OECD has downgraded growth for the next 2 years. He can't rule out tax rises. The police chiefs are saying they don't have the money they need to keep the public safe. Just as he's releasing more criminals onto the streets. His cabinet are squabbling with each other. They've said that they've lost control of the borders, but he still managed, Mr. Speaker, to find £30 billion to give away the Chagos Islands. This is total and utter chaos. 2 weeks ago, he was crowing about his historic trade deal and how he got 0% tariffs on steel. Now the steel industry will face 25% tariffs unless he does exactly what President Trump tells him to. It is chaos, chaos, chaos. And isn't the root of the chaos, Mr. Speaker, that it is about this Prime Minister, his decisions and his judgment?
The only advice, Mr. Speaker, she gets up on a Wednesday morning, scrolls through social media, never does anything. We're the only country in the world that isn't paying the 50% tax on steel. And we're working in the US, and that will be coming down. We are working on it to bring it down to zero. That is going to happen.
Order. Please. Let's listen to the answer, even if you don't believe you're getting one. It is how the Prime Minister wishes to.
What did she opposes the US deal. She opposes the India deal. She opposes what we're doing with the EU, and she opposes Diego Garcia. That's a vital intelligence and strategic capability. Absolutely clear that legal uncertainty would compromise that capability in a very short time. No responsible Prime Minister would ever let that happen. We have secured the long-term basis for the base. That has been welcomed by Mr. Speaker, welcomed by the US, NATO, Australia, New Zealand, India. They're our allies. It's been opposed by our adversaries, Russia, China and Iran. And into that column we have reform, presumably following Putin.
Now, picture this. House of Commons, Wednesday. The usual rowdy choir of MPs humming with anticipation, half of them still caffeinating. And in walks cool, collected, and holding what could only be described as the political version of a sledgehammer, but wrapped in velvet. And who's across from her? None other than Keir Starmer, leader of the opposition, looking like a man who's just remembered he left the oven on mid-speech. You just know it's going to be a spicy session when the first line sounds less like a question and more like the start of a Netflix courtroom drama. 3 weeks ago, she begins, the winter fuel policy was set in stone. Sounds solid, right? 2 weeks ago, she continues, the Prime Minister U-turned. Oh. We've gone from set in stone to full ballerina pirouettes in record time. And now the Chancellor's apparently just remembered what month winter falls in. It's giving oops, all frostbite. The crowd erupts, not quite gladiator levels, but not far off. She's not asking for metaphors or long-winded statements about vision. No, she wants receipts. How many of the 10 million pensioners who lost their winter fuel payments will get them back? A simple question, but asking it in the Commons is like asking your nan to pick a Netflix show. 20 minutes of faffing and still no answer. And here comes the Prime Minister, trying very hard to look confident while clearly hoping someone in his team has slipped the right post-it into his folder. He gives us the usual spiel, something about stabilizing the economy, a £22 billion black hole, and 3 trade deals, which to be fair sounds impressive if you say it fast enough and don't think too hard. He then tries to pivot with, we're committed to the triple lock. A bold shout, considering half the room's still trying to figure out if the lock is metaphorical, physical, or a padlock on the country's energy budget. But Kem is not done. Not even close. She's like, mate, your head must be spinning with all these U-turns. And you can almost hear the gear shifts as the PM tries desperately to reverse out of the corner he's driven into. She presses on, will he apologize now for taking the payments away in the first place? There's something wonderfully British about asking someone to apologize politely yet with the force of a train. Now, when you think he might respond with a touch of humility, he goes full deflection mode, maybe she should apologize for the economic mess. Oh bless. Classic playground comeback. You can almost hear the Commons collectively mutter, oh, here we go again. But Kem, oh no, she's prepared. She claps back, the OBR said there was no such black hole. That's a mic drop moment right there. And then, with the precision of a tailor fitting a Seville Row suit, she lands this gem. He hasn't stabilized the economy, it's just chaos, chaos, chaos. She says chaos like she's sprinkling salt on chips, liberally and with a flourish. And then the piece de resistance, she pivots to the 2-child benefit cap. Not with confusion, not with hesitation, but with the smoothness of someone who already knows the answer and is just setting the trap. Can we get a simple answer? Will the government keep the 2-child benefit cap? It's the kind of question that doesn't need fanfare. It lands like a quiet thud in a silent room. And the Prime Minister, still rifling through that folder like it's going to start whispering answers, responds with talk of strategy and task forces. At this point, you can practically see the tumbleweed roll through the backbench. Oh, Kemi doubles down. She brings the heat but keeps it classy. I didn't ask about a task force. I asked if he'll keep the cap. That's like asking someone if they want sugar in their tea and getting a TED Talk on global warming in return. But this is where the spice levels go full Nando's extra hot. She calmly, almost cheerily, says, I believe in family, but also fairness. People on benefits should make the same choices on children as everyone else. It's a political Molotov delivered with the smile of someone offering you a scone. Now the Prime Minister is trying desperately to change the subject. He drags in the Kremlin. Yes, the Kremlin. It's like trying to fix a leaking tap by referencing the Cold War. He quotes a Russian embassy statement in response to Kemi's previous comments. The Commons noise level spikes like a dog hearing a squeaky toy. Kemi's expression, absolutely priceless. It's the face of someone thinking, did he just invoke Russia to avoid talking about benefits? She responds with perfectly delivered disdain, I asked what he believes in. He had to look in his folder. It's brutal, it's honest, and it lands with a thud of truth. You can see some of the MPs behind the PM quietly regretting their career choices. She goes in again, he's been in government nearly a year, and it's only going to get harder. That, my friends, is the political version of you've not even started the homework and it's due tomorrow. And yet the PM plows on, more folder checking, more blame shifting, and then, wait for it, a quote from Sky News. He actually reads it like a GCSE student doing an oral exam, which makes it all the more surreal. He brings up a quote about Ukraine being a proxy war. And before you can say off topic, he's citing Kremlin tweets. To this point, the House is no longer debating policy. It's become a Black Mirror episode. But Kem, not fazed, not flustered, leans into it. Total nonsense, she says. He hasn't answered the question. Her tone is less angry politician and more mum who's just found out her teenager's been skipping homework. She lays out the facts. The OECD has downgraded growth. Police chiefs are saying they can't keep the streets safe, and yet somehow there's £30 billion to be flung at what she now mockingly refers to as Chaos Island. To this point, karma is basically background noise. She's not even looking at him half the time. The Prime Minister is on the ropes, dodging, weaving, and trying to read off page 17 of his notes while the crowd looks on, slightly embarrassed for him. And then, just when you think she's done, she delivers the political equivalent of a roundhouse kick. The steel industry will face 25% tariffs unless he does exactly what President Trump tells him to. It's not a question, it's a wallop of cold, hard truth wrapped in diplomatic ribbon. Now, you'd think the PM might call it a day, take the L, regroup, and exit stage left. But no, he tries again. Talks about being the only country not paying 50% steel tax, working on it, and something about Diego Garcia. It's as if someone hit shuffle on a political jukebox, and we're now in foreign policy territory without warning. But it's clear to everyone in the room, and everyone watching, that Kemi Badenoch has run rings around the entire session. Her delivery is slick, her questions sharp, and her patience paper-thin but professionally held. It's not just political prowess, it's theater, it's strategy, it's a masterclass in how to hold power to account while looking like you're simultaneously writing your memoirs and planning dinner. By the end of it, even those on her own benches are wide-eyed. Because this wasn't just PMQs. This was a reminder that politics, when done right, can be witty, incisive, and ruthlessly effective. No need for shouting, no need for name-calling. Just facts, timing, and the kind of verbal judo that leaves opponents blinking in the bright lights wondering what just happened. And that, dear viewer, is how you tear through the spin, dodge the folder fluff, and leave the Commons floor metaphorically smoking. Whether you're team red, blue, yellow, or just here for the popcorn, one thing's for sure, that performance was pure political gold. And if you enjoyed that robust, parliamentary debate, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because who needs Netflix drama when Westminster serves up this kind of weekly gold? See you next PMQs, where the only certainty is chaos, chaos, chaos. Cheerio.